President Trump vowed to restore the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool, a defining feature of Washington. Months later, it is empty and closed to the public. That's the headline from a New York Times timeline by Pooja Silhotra, tracking what she calls a renovation saga plagued by problems, bright green algae, peeling paint, and a series of no-bid contracts that have drawn scrutiny from contracting experts and a lawsuit from a historic preservation nonprofit. The saga began with the administration's push to complete renovations by the country's 250th birthday celebrations on July 4. To meet that deadline, the government awarded no-bid contracts for the multi-million-dollar project, bypassing the usual competitive bidding process. When problems surfaced, algae blooms and damage to the pool's surface, President Trump and his administration pointed the finger at what they called vandals. Without evidence, they accused individuals of slashing the pool with knives or razors in the dead of night and dumping fertilizer into the shallow water to promote algae growth. Federal prosecutors followed up by charging at least 4 people with damaging the pool. One was an Olympian who faced a felony charge punishable by up to 10 years in prison. But then came a stunning reversal. Prosecutors dismissed the charge and said the damage was actually the result of a botched installation by federal contractors. The pool, meanwhile, remains empty. Let's look at the contracts. On April 3, a Virginia firm called Atlantic Industrial Coatings was hired to repair leaking joints between the pool's concrete slabs, waterproof the bottom, and painted a color Mr. Trump called American Flag Blue. The firm got a no-bid contract, a mechanism contracting experts call highly unusual and typically reserved for desperate cases where work must start immediately to protect lives. Atlantic Industrial Coatings had never previously held a federal contract. At first, Mr. Trump said he chose the firm because it had repaired a pool at one of his golf clubs. He later reversed himself and said he did not know the firm. The company added a 20% profit margin to its bill, which has totaled $14.7 million so far. A second no-bid contract, worth $1.7 million, went to Greenwater Services of Brookfield, Ohio, to install a water purification system meant to combat algae. The owner of that firm is a donor to Mr. Trump and a neighbor to Mar-a-Lago, the president's private club in Florida. The physical work has also raised eyebrows. At one point, Mr. Trump's motorcade drove over the drained, coated reflecting pool as he surveyed the renovations. The Cultural Landscape Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to landscape architecture, filed a lawsuit in U.S. District Court in Washington seeking to halt the paint job. They argue the Trump administration ignored a law requiring advanced scrutiny of projects that alter historic landmarks. In their lawsuit, the organization stated that every day that the resurfacing continues, the historic character of the reflecting pool is being further and fundamentally altered. The Trump administration has sought to have the case dismissed. As of this reporting, the pool remains empty, the legal fight continues, and the timeline for any reopening is unclear. For the New York Times, this has been a timeline of Trump's Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool renovation saga. I'm your host, thanks for listening.